God.
The Olympic
Olympic
team.
basketball.
The dream team.
Oh, the dream team. Christian Leitner is from my hometown.
Oh, is he really?
His dad used to coach our my brothers in baseball.
Cool.
I knew it was the
So,
Olympic.
what college has the most representatives, i.e. people that were attached to that college, on the dream team?
Duke.
Why do you look at me like that? And the answer is yes.
I was gonna say either that or Seattle.
So I was hoping that Jan was here, but Jan's not here, because, yeah, so it's Leitner and Krzyzewski. What college, what college who's currently top, ranked in the NCAA has a representative on this team? And who is that person?
Top ranked team.
Top ranked right now.
Isn't it Gonzaga right now?
Gonzaga, correct, and it's Gonzaga, not Zaga.
All right, well, sorry.
At least you knew that.
At least I got an answer.
Very good.
Yeah, you got an answer. I don't know who, but probably sure who.
Yeah, who had like the most assists of all time. So somebody in this room has no idea about the dream team, so we may have to continue to educate from week to
Tanya,
week.
I see a picture.
Yes, he's
Dream team? What's that? Basketball?
No, I
What's
said, I mean,
that?
it's probably an amazing team, right? A dream team.
Good answer.
Profound.
So, what was Christian Leitner's claim to fame on that team?
Only college player.
Very good.
What'd you say?
He was what?
The only college player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else just went to So now we'll get on something a little bit more relevant. So this was a guy starting back a couple years, or it's almost 3 years ago now, I guess, since it's 2020, who first presented in February 17, 35-year-old male, obesity, asthma, sleep apnea, hypertension, depression, shows up with dyspnea. Blood pressure is 157/100. Has a history of asthma, so is diagnosed with an asthma flare. Also is flu A positive, and gets worse. And 3 days later gets tubed for 4 days. Eventually gets out of the hospital in 2 weeks. Anything with that you're worried about makes you say, based on that, or routine care, 35-year-old with asthma? Yes. Most kids with asthma continue to have asthma throughout their entire life. Yeah, so that also kind of smells a little bit, I think. September of 17, again admitted with an asthma flare. He is and also has some edema, right? But gets meds and steroids and sent out.
Oops.
So June of 18, admitted with asthma flare, has a chest x-ray with congestion, but his BNP is less than 100. But they still, because of the congestion, get an echo. And you see his EF is normal. His wall thickness is 1.3 and 1.3. Now, if I told you that he weighs over 400 pounds, what does that make you think about with his BNP?
That is.
It's falsely.
Right. The only thing that really lowers your BNP is fat cells.
That was the first echo he had after all that?
Correct. So that's admission number 3 there. Admission number 4, December of 18, shortness of breath and leg drainage. Less hypertensive, but still hypertensive. Diagnosed with cellulitis and treated with antibiotics.
Uh-oh.
Number 5, shortness of breath, hypertensive, again, chest x-ray with congestion, treated for asthma, sent out. Number 6, right leg pain, 170/93, is this the for asthma, Senate. Comes back 3 weeks later, short of breath, 190, troponin 0.05 times 2, BNP 72. Had vascular congestion, but quote, it was unchanged from prior imaging, so will not evaluate in more detail. September, right leg swelling, 166 over 97.
Jeez
He is
Louise.
being treated with antihypertensives.
Not very well.
They might not be
October,
taking them.
scrotal pain, swelling, pelvic CT, ultrasound negative, gets a urology consult who says, why don't you guys diurese? Which is, I just had to throw that in there, because,
That's funny.
and this all happened actually in the ED. They called urology to the ED for that. Has an echo, and now his EF is down. 35 to 40, 6.4 for LV size, gets a workup, clean pores, and there's his calf. So tell me what you think about those hemos.
Might have some pulmonary hypertension too.
So, his mean PA is 39. That gives him mild pH. Do you think it's primary or secondary pH? So he does have sleep apnea. So secondary, right? And he doesn't, his pulmonary vascular resistance, so mean PA minus wedge is 9, divided by output of 8. So his PVR is like 1. So this is all just fluid overload with a little bit of mild pH because of it, right? This is not primary pH, this is probably not pH secondary to pulmonary, or I mean secondary to sleep apnea. But he's got fluid, his wedge is 30, his R is 15, you're gonna make him pee. You're gonna diurese him, and hopefully he's gonna do better with that. So of interest, he did not lose 100 pounds. He lost, I think it was 12, in streeting. So it comes back in a month later, short of breath, asthma flare, blood pressure 160 over 104. No PFTs that I've seen.
Did he have any VQ scans?
He did not have DQ, but he had a couple of PE protocol chest CTs that were both negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never saw like pulmonary anything.
That's what I was wondering, pulmonary consult?
Never had a pulmonary consult. So now he comes in, short of breath, was said to be combative and diaphoretic in the ER, and imagine why, because he had a pH of 6.9 and a CO2 of 130, with a blood pressure of 120 over 112, and was 2. And that's where we are right now. He's peeing a lot, and his blood pressure is being controlled. So a lot that you could potentially discuss based on this, but I thought the biggie would be hypertension. And in a 38-year-old guy, do you really worry about this kind of hypertension being potentially something else besides just hypertension? So if you think about primary hypertension, 95% of hypertension, age, obesity, family history, race, and he is African American, small kidneys that aren't working well, high sodium diet, drinking, and physical inactivity. And so he checks a lot of these boxes, right? He's obese, he's African American, Lord only knows what he's eating. He's physically not moving much if he weighs 250 grams. So potentially this is what's going on, but again, he's only 39. So does this increase your risk or your worry about some form of secondary hypertension? So what's the definition that you have to have for secondary hypertension? And this I learned a little bit today. age less than 30. And I was thinking more 40. But severe or resistant hypertension, despite at least 3 meds, including a diuretic. Also think about it in those that have an acute rise in blood pressure. Age less than 30 with no family history of hypertension and non-obese, non-black. So by definition, he does not meet the definition of secondary hypertension. But it still really makes you worry and wonder a lot about secondary causes of hypertension in such a young guy that has such nasty, severe hypertension. And again, right now he's still tubed, so we can't ask him questions like, are you taking your meds or not? So if you think about secondary hypertension, a long laundry list of things that can do it. Kidney disease, so as people go on towards dialysis, they will develop hypertension. Renal vascular disease, which is really just, right, when you've got either fibromuscular dysplasia, and so you've got a stenotic renal artery, or vascular disease in your renal arteries. Things to think about with that is if they bump their creatinine after an ACE-ARB. We always worry about starting ACE-ARBs in patients with a creatinine of 2 and heart failure. In the studies, it's 2.5. Rarely will our patients have renal vascular hypertension. That's the only big thing that you're going to say is a reason not to give an ACE-ARB or an ARNI. Other things with that is it usually is older onset. So you have somebody who's been cruising until they're 60, and then they start to get real hypertensive. That's the person to worry about renal vascular disease. Also probably have coronary disease or other kind of aortic disease. A 30-year-old rarely, if ever, is going to have renal vascular disease as their cause of hypertension. And we'll go a little bit more into that over time. A lot of different drugs that can do it. Some legal and some illegal. For him, he was getting steroids for all these asthma flares, so maybe something going on from that standpoint. But others that are out there, oral contraceptives. For transplant patients, everybody has hypertension. From patients with cancer, the tyrosine kinase inhibitor, which is usually for GI cancers, will cause nasty hypertension. Antidepressants can do it. Sudafed, that kind of cold stuff can do it. Non-steroidals can do it. A funky one is black licorice. And so if somebody has a black licorice fetish, that can cause hypertension. And so it's just things to kind of work through with your patients in that sense.
Because it's the, like, pseudoaldosteronism, like, that's what the black licorice does.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was skipping down to that piece with the hyperkalemia and everything.
Um,
Sorry,
No, that's
I
fine.
had to look this up one time, I thought it was really interesting.
FEO is the diagnosis that you will never find, but you should always have in the back of your head. The big thing with that is it's intermittent. And so this guy at times had a normal blood pressure, some clinic appointments with a normal blood pressure, but then rolls in at 220, which increased my suggestion. Also with that, headache, think about in diaphoresis, are kind of the big things with a FEO. Has anybody ever found somebody with FEO?
Mm-hmm.
But they're rare. Primary aldo, with that you expect to see low potassium and high or low sodium. Come on, take a guess.
Hi.
High. Yeah. So high and low. You'll also see a lot of it in your urine. Now, if somebody's on a diuretic, they're gonna spill K there, so then it's less helpful from that standpoint. But non-diuretic, hypernatremia, hypokalemia, think about primary aldo. Cushing's, can do it sleep apnea, which he does have, and he has been studied for. Coarct, we'll talk a little bit about just because it's kind of cool. Hypothyroid more than hyperthyroid causes hypertension. And then primary hyperparathyroidism. With that, you expect to see elevated, what?
Calcium.
Yeah, calcium. Usually elevated calcium goes along with tumors and bony mets, but primary hyperpara, elevated calcium. So for renovascular hypertension, gold standard to diagnose is stick a catheter in there and squirt them. People don't do that very often, and so we'll go to Doppler or CTA or MRA. The problem with Doppler and him is he's 400. So that's kind of out. Other things that you can kind of get with renovascular hypertension is you tend to get small kidneys. And so if you just do a ultrasound of the kidneys and they're normal size or big, less apt to be it. And it often will be one side more than the other. You can measure plasma renin, but not being elevated does not mean that they don't have it. Comes after our triple negative. It doesn't have to be elevated.